There's a strange tension that lives inside the mind of someone who knows too much. Not just someone who reads a lot, not just someone who's smart. I'm talking about someone who knows. Someone who feels the weight of truth pressing on their chest like gravity. Someone who sees the world not just for what it is, but for what it hides. And if that's you, then you already know. There's a blessing in deep awareness, and there's a burden with that. Because when you start waking up, really waking up, something shifts. You stop being entertained by the things that used to distract you. Conversations that once felt engaging now feel hollow. Relationships, once grounded in convenience, now feel shallow. You see patterns in people's behavior and systems in the world that others ignore. You pick up on subtle manipulations. You sense the fear that drives most decisions. You start noticing the masks people wear. And what's even harder is you start noticing the mask that you've worn too. And that's the curse. Because knowledge isn't always comforting. Awareness doesn't always soothe. The ancient book of Ecclesiastes said it plainly. He who increases knowledge increases sorrow. Why? Because ignorance can be bliss until it isn't. But once you've seen, once you've known, you can't unsee. And here's the paradox. The more you know, the harder it can be to belong. You're not trying to be arrogant. You're not trying to isolate. But it's difficult to connect deeply when most conversations stay at the surface. It's hard to laugh along when you see the world unraveling underneath the jokes. It's frustrating to watch people argue about things that don't matter while the real battles go ignored. So you withdraw, not because you hate people, but because the noise is exhausting. You crave depth. You crave stillness. You crave authenticity. And let me tell you this, that craving is sacred. Because while others chase noise, you're chasing meaning. While others drown in distraction, you're trying to remember who you are. And while others conform, you're trying to awaken. That doesn't make you better, it makes you responsible. And that's the real challenge, isn't it? What do you do with what you know? Do you let it isolate you? Do you let it turn into bitterness, cynicism, or superiority? Or do you let it humble you? Do you let it break you open? Do you let it forge wisdom? Because here's the truth. There is a version of you on the other side of awareness that is stronger, softer, and more grounded than ever before. But you have to choose the path. Because the other path, resentment, isolation, arrogance, it's easy. But it will starve your soul. So what's the alternative? It's this. You need to stop needing everyone to understand you. You stop waiting for deep connection to come from outside and you start cultivating it on the inside. You find peace in solitude, not because you've given up on people, but because you've reconnected with yourself. You find joy in truth, not because it's always easy, but because it's real. You lean into simplicity. You return to gratitude. You start seeing life not as a puzzle to fix, but a mystery to honor. And maybe, just maybe, you start helping others wake up too. Not by preaching, not by proving, but by living in such a way that your peace becomes louder than their chaos, that your clarity becomes magnetic. There's a Chinese proverb that says, when the wise man points at the moon, the fool looks at the finger. The more you know, the more you realize. Most people are looking at the wrong things. They're obsessed with the finger, the system, the noise, the drama, the surface. But you're looking at the moon. Don't apologize for that. Don't shrink for that. But don't become hardened either. Stay soft, stay open, stay human. That's where the strength is. That's the fire iron mindset. And now I want to leave you with these 6 guiding principles. They're not quick tips, they're not surface level advice, but deep truth for those who are walking awake in a world that's still asleep. These are practices that will keep your soul steady when the noise of the world tries to drown out your clarity. So let's get into each one here. Number 1. Learn to enjoy your own company. Solitude isn't a punishment, it's a portal. A portal back to your thoughts, your values, your roots. Most people fear being alone because they haven't made peace with their own presence. They chase connection to avoid confrontation with their own silence. But when you learn to be still, when you sit with your soul long enough to hear what it's been trying to say, you don't just find peace, you find direction. So ask yourself, what am I running from when I fill my life with constant noise? If I couldn't distract myself today, what would I be forced to face? Because the deeper you go inward, the clearer you become outward. Number 2, refuse to live on autopilot. Most people live like it's a script handed to them by someone else. They go to work, scroll through life, numb out the habits, and call it normal. But normal isn't always healthy, and comfortable isn't always good. Break the script, ask deeper questions, challenge routine, because you weren't born to sleepwalk through your one short life. And that's what it is, one short life. You were born to live it wide awake. So ask, what habits have I stopped questioning? What parts of my life are just momentum, not meaning? What would it look like to live by design instead of default? Number 3, honor depth. Even when others don't, you may not always find people who think like you, but you can become someone who thinks so clearly, so deeply, so intentionally that your presence changes the conversation. Not everyone wants to go deep. Not everyone is ready, and that's okay. You don't have to convince everyone, but you do have to stay true to your nature. Don't shrink to fit into shallow spaces. Ask yourself, what am I pretending to care about just to belong? Where have I been trading my depth for acceptance? Your mind is a sacred place. Don't water it down for applause. It's cheap. Number 4, stay rooted in love. Intelligence without compassion becomes cold. Awareness without humility becomes superiority. And neither of those paths lead to peace. The deeper your insight, the deeper your love must go. Don't use awareness to judge, use it to understand. Don't use truth to tear down, use it to build. And then ask yourself, am I offering light or just exposing darkness? Am I showing people a better way or just proving they're wrong? Yes, I know it's fun to prove people wrong. I get it. But you don't make headway with that. You do not gain ground by just proving people wrong. Wisdom without love is noise. And you've seen enough noise to last a lifetime. Number 5, protect your peace. Not everything deserves your energy. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to carry every burden you see. You don't have to respond to every comment, every opinion, every request. Guard your gates. Curate your consumption. Be intentional about what you feed your mind and soul. And then ask yourself, is this helping me grow, or is it just keeping me busy? Is this conversation bringing me clarity or confusion? Is this relationship deepening my roots or draining my spirit? Are you friends with energy vampires? Peace isn't passive. Peace is power, and it must be protected. And lastly, number 6, let God be your compass. See, at the end of the day, your intellect will hit a wall. Your knowledge will hit limits. Your awareness will only take you so far. But the Spirit of God, well, that's the wisdom that surpasses understanding. That's the peace that calms the storm. That's the guidance that never misleads. Psalm 46 verse 10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." That's not just poetic, it's practical. Because in stillness, the signal gets clearer. And in surrender, your strengths multiply. And then you have to ask yourself, have I been relying more on my logic than His leading? And where am I still trying to control what God is calling me to trust? When your knowledge aligns with divine wisdom, your life becomes not just intelligent, but anointed. So let me end with this. You are not broken for feeling deeply. You are not wrong for seeing the cracks. You are not crazy for knowing what others deny. You are awake. And the world needs you to stay that way. So don't retreat, don't conform, don't dilute your soul. Live with full clarity, love with full power, and lean fully into who God created you to be. This is the fire iron mindset, where we forge strength from inside out. And if this message stirred something in you, if it reminded you of who you are, then subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share it with someone else who's walking the same road. Because there are many out there walking the similar road, just at different levels. We're building a community of deep thinkers and awake hearts, and we need each other more than ever. So keep the fire burning, keep the mind sharp, and above all, live awake.